These are tonight's top stories. The St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force clarifies a hoax message circulating on social media. 60 students awarded at Help a Child Program scholarship ceremony. And St. Kitts and Nevis host a high-level meeting on matters relating to civil aviation in the region. The details on these stories and more after the break.
Can you afford to lose everything? In times of uncertainty, ensure you have the security of Quartz Payment Protection. When you shop with Quartz Ready Finance Gold or Ultimate Plan, if you lose your job after 6 months of making payments, our redundancy coverage ensures that the payment on your account continues for up to 12 months. Don't risk losing everything. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance and get the payment protection plan that protects you against redundancy, disability, death, and loss of item due to natural disaster, fire, flood, or theft. Quartz Ready Finance with payment protection. Quartz, bringing value home.
Good evening and welcome to the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. I'm Carla Barrage. The St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force is dismissing all rumors connecting them to an individual who is said to be committing a series of robberies throughout the Federation. In a press release by the force's public relations officer, Coyote Sutton, it was stated that the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, SKNDF, is aware of a WhatsApp message being circulated on social media warning people to be aware of an ex-soldier who is said to be posing as a FLO employee in order to gain access to homes and commit robberies. The SKNDF wishes all concerned persons to know that this individual was never a member of the Defense Force. However, the force encourages persons to be aware of who they allow into their homes and to exercise caution at all times. The press release further stated that the SKNDF remains committed to efforts to curb criminal activities from the streets and communities within the Federation. The public is urged to continue to support and cooperate with the security forces' efforts to make our society safe for all. 60 students were awarded on Wednesday at the Help a Child Program scholarship ceremony, courtesy of Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. Here's more.
The ceremony began at about 5 p.m. and saw high-ranking government officials, members of the Constituency 7 community, parents, teachers, and students gathering at the Estridge Moravian Church in Mansion. Now in its 13th year, the annual Help a Child Program Scholarship Award ceremony, organized by Prime Minister Harris, focuses on helping primary school students to excel as part of the program's initiative. Prime Minister Harris has said he hopes to see the program flourish in years to come.
It is a pleasure for me to extend a warm welcome to all of you who have gathered here for this, the 13th edition of the annual Help a Child Awards ceremony for constituency number 7. This is a tradition which I hope we will not break, because education is still the best gift which we can give to our young people.
The Prime Minister then proceeded to thank all contributors and sponsors for their continued support over the past 13 years.
It is indeed a proud moment for the awardees, their teachers and parents alike, because we are recognizing the potential in our young people and we are giving them a fair chance. At this point, I want to thank all of our sponsors who were enumerated before by the chairman, for they have had the vision to recognize the potential through the support that they have given. And without them, today's awards would not be possible.
60 students were presented with $500 each during the award ceremony. A total of 375 grants, valued at $500 each, were given to students in previous years. To date, 435 students have been awarded approximately $217,500. Scholarship recipients were selected from the Violet Petty Primary School in Lodge, Tabernacles Edgar T. Morris Primary, Estridge Primary in Mansion, and the Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary School in Molyneux. The Help a Child Program Scholarship Ceremony was held under the theme, Education is still the best gift that any parent can give a child. Reporting for ZIZ News, I am Shaira Flanders.
A three-day high-level meeting themed the Third Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Technical Group aimed at exchanging ideas and providing suggestions in relation to air traffic control, air navigation safety, and meteorology convened in St. Kitts and Nevis on Wednesday, October 19th at the Ocean Terrace Inn. During her remarks at the opening ceremony, Kay Bass, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, explained that the meeting is important for St. Kitts and Nevis as the aviation industry is under threat.
It is not a modern phenomenon that it is a target for terrorists and other attacks. It is therefore imperative that all stakeholders, albeit state or private agencies, individuals or groups, remain steadfast in the goal to maintain safer skies. Air traffic control is a critical component of aviation operations, and all efforts must be taken to improve efficiency in this area. St. Kitts and Nevis is therefore proud that it serves as host to this specialized meeting, which will outline the rational benefits and opportunities for sharing and advance the work in this area of aviation. We hope that you, the participants, will better understand the need and be more open to cooperating with one another in order to enhance surveillance coverage and other components of aviation in this region.
Ms. Bass stated that because of the threat faced by the aviation industry, it is imperative to implement robust surveillance systems in order to ensure flexible use of airspaces by airlines as well as the improvement of safety. She added that it needs concentrated work to come together in this critical activity to provide opportunities to reinforce the air navigation safety worldwide. The Permanent Secretary said that St. Kitts and Nevis has seen major achievements as it pertains to civil aviation.
We acceded to the Chicago Convention in 2002, and since then we have been very active participants in all of ICAO's meetings. The Department of Civil Aviation is relatively young, however, having only been instituted in 2005. Nonetheless, its achievements to date have been commendable. The most recent TSA inspection report rated us as mostly compliant with ICAO standards and recommended procedures. Though under-resourced, the Civil Aviation Department is a model regionally and oftentimes called upon to offer advice to other departments in the region.
A number of Caribbean countries, including Antigua and Barbuda, Curacao, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, St. Lucia, and host country St. Kitts and Nevis are represented at this high-level meeting. Representatives from the United States and Mexico are also in attendance. Over the next few days, representatives of the various countries are expected to report on how their country implemented the convention that deals with air traffic. After the break, 26 illegal firearms removed from communities, and students awarded at the 7th Annual St. Kitts Credit Union Melvin Edwards Excellence Awards. Stay with us. Officers assigned to the Gingerland Police Station in Nevis have removed another illegal firearm off the streets following a search operation on Wednesday. According to reports, the weapon was discovered late that night in the Gingerland region. Reports also indicate that one 9mm Glock pistol was then seized by the police. This seizure brings to 26 the number of illegal firearms discovered and seized in the Federation in 2016. 2 illegal firearms and a number of ammunition were discovered and seized during the recent Operation Safe Streets. Our vigilance is paying off, said head of the Nevis Division, Superintendent Trevor Mills, with regards to the discovery. He added, our continuing efforts to engage the community will bear fruit. This is a testament. We continue to engage the community with the goal of building a stronger relationship. It benefits us all in the end, and this is an example. The top performers in the St. Kitts 2016 Test of Standard examination for grade 6 students were recognized and awarded at the 7th Annual St. Kitts Credit Union Melvin Edwards Excellence Awards on Wednesday. Here's more. Parents, teachers, education and banking officials gathered at the St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union conference room for the award ceremony commemorating the stellar performance of 5 students. General Manager of the SKCCU, Cheryl Bass, congratulated the students on their excellent academic performance in the June 2016 Test of Standards.
At St. Kitts Credit Union, we are passionate and firmly convinced that excellence is not merely a catchphrase, but rather it must become a way of life. We believe that you don't just wake up one morning and find excellence. Our directors, committee members, management and staff share the view that excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better.
She further spoke of the importance of recognizing the achievements of every student and pledged the continued support of the SKCCU.
We feel that it is very important to celebrate in a tangible way in the achievement of our future leaders and to let them know that they have our full support as they embark on this amazing journey of excellence.
Deputy Chief Education Officer Daryl Lloyd, in congratulating the awardees, encouraged them to persevere despite obstacles.
Students, I want to say to you that in life, you're going to meet obstacles, of course. It will not be an easy road in the high school as it has been for some of you in the secondary school, in the primary school. But I want to say to you that, like Sylvester Stallone, you must be determined. And you must say within yourself, say to yourself, that I can overcome irrespective of what others may say. Push your way through. Do not give up.
The awardees were Daniel Thompson of the Dr. William Connor Primary School, who placed first, Jody Lynn Watson of the Beach Allen Primary School, who placed second, Gabriel Myers of the George Moody, and Shadisha Green of the Seventh-day Adventist School, who placed third and fourth respectively, and Vlashawn Smithen of the George Moody School, who took fifth place. The awardees are the top scorers in the combined testing at the primary level in the areas of English, mathematics, social studies, and science. The awards form part of the St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union's 34th anniversary week of activity celebrations, which is being held under the theme, The Authentic Difference. Coming up, a Guyanese man's behavior delayed his deportation from the United States. The details when we come back. A Guyanese man who was set for deportation from the United States was not allowed to travel due to his behavior prior to the departure. Capital News' Ivor Wharton has the latest.
A Guyanese man was taken off a Caribbean Airlines flight last night from New York heading to Guyana for threatening behavior. The man, who has been identified as Wazir Khan, was being deported from the United States. Reports are that the man, who said he did not want to be deported to Guyana, began to issue threats to the air marshal and stewards. It was then that he was taken off the aircraft by security and held for questioning. While this newscast is unable to say what crime Khan was being deported for, there is another Guyanese with the same name who was sentenced for a similar crime in New York. News reports out of New York in 2005 reported that a 19-year-old Wazir Khan was arrested and charged for threatening to kill an individual and blowing up a building and mailing threatening letters to a federal judge. He was also charged with threatening to kill a federal judge who presided over cases involving his brother and mother. It is unclear whether the individuals are one and the same. Reporting for Capital News, Ivor Wharton.
Coming up, Philippines Duterte warms China ties with Beijing visit. Stay tuned. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has met his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing. China has praised Duterte's visit after years of tension between the countries over a territorial dispute in the South China Sea. More in this report.
This visit represents a diplomatic victory for China, and the mood music was triumphant. The visit was organized very quickly, a reflection of President Xi Jinping's desire to improve relations with the Philippines, just as President Rodrigo Duterte reassesses his alliance with the United States. The Philippines leader has come to discuss trade and investment, but analysts say he also wants something else.
More than money, I think, he is coming here seeking for respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. He believes that the Philippines should be self-reliant, but also as long as he is respected, he would be friends with anyone.
He got plenty of respect and money on Thursday, a $3 billion loan from the Bank of China for new infrastructure projects. The Philippines delegation signed a raft of other agreements, with China also offering cooperation in Duterte's controversial war on drugs, which led to his public falling out with the US president. In an address to the Filipino community, Duterte said his country had gained little from its alliance with Washington. Just 6 months ago, a visit by a Philippines president to China would have seemed unimaginable. Back then, there was an intensifying war of words between the governments of both countries over their rival territorial claims in the South China Sea. But that all changed after President Duterte took office. At almost the same time, an international court ruled in the Philippines' favor, deciding China's territorial claims had no legal basis. But Duterte has so far not asked China to comply, and that's gone down well here, with an offer to resume talks.
Both sides agree that disputes in the South China Sea were not the sum total of China-Philippine relations, and the two sides would restore the agreement between China and the Philippines signed 5 years ago to properly handle the South China Sea issue through talks.
The Philippines president is walking a diplomatic tightrope here. He says he wants to end his country's reliance on the United States and mend ties with China, all the while defending his country's territorial claims in the South China Sea. Adrian Brown, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Up next in sports, National Bank School Football League opens. Stay tuned. Over 300 young footballers were in attendance for the official opening of the St. Kitts Nevis National Bank School football competition, which kicked off on Wednesday at the Warner Park Football Stadium. In delivering remarks, Director of Sports Anthony Wilshire said it is important to invest in the nation's young footballers in order to see returns in the future.
This is the genesis of football in our beloved country. For us to be successful, we must erect strong foundations. We must invest in our grassroots programs. The road to the top is long and lonely. Therefore, our investment today will ensure our march to success. Let us not take the rapid progress of our national football team to the position of 77th in the world for granted. It has taken hard work and dedication.
Marketing manager at the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank, Shona Pemberton, handed over a sponsorship check for $12,000 to the Ministry of Sports. She said the bank takes pride in its ongoing contribution to the development of sports in the Federation.
How pleased we are to be partnering with the Department of Sports to ensure that there is continuity of the school's football league. And so National Bank continued to exemplify its corporate responsibility in ensuring that these sports have continuity and, of course, sustainability in terms of making sure that our youth have an avenue to really display their talent.
The competition was declared open by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Stanley Knight. As the Tiger Woods Foundation turns 20, Tiger Woods spoke with Charlie Rose about his return to the game of golf. Here's more.
Golf great Tiger Woods has a timeline for his return to the game, as he told Charlie Rose during a rare one-on-one interview, as the charitable group he started with his father, the Tiger Woods Foundation, turns 20. In the interview, Woods spoke about his struggle to come back after a series of injuries, the fallout from controversies he endured in 2009, and the one decision that remains his single biggest regret, which he says was not spending another year at Stanford.
The Cleveland Indians haven't won a World Series since 1948, but that long drought may soon come to an end. With a win over the Toronto Blue Jays on Wednesday, the Indians took a decising 4-1 lead in the American League Championship Series, won the pennant, and punched their ticket to the Fall Classic.
An unlikely pitching performance helped pace the most unexpected team in the World Series. Cleveland rookie Ryan Merritt coolly delivered a lead, and the Indians won their first pennant since 1997 in Game 5 of the AL Championship Series. Cleveland, which has never hosted a World Series opener, will play Game 1 at Progressive Field on Tuesday night against the Chicago Cubs or Los Angeles Dodgers.
When we come back, we'll have another look at the stories that made the headlines.
Can you afford to lose everything? In times of uncertainty, ensure you have the security of Quartz Payment Protection. When you shop with Quartz Ready Finance Gold or Ultimate Plan, if you lose your job after 6 months of making payments, our redundancy coverage ensures that the payment on your account continues for up to 12 months. Don't risk losing everything. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance and get the payment protection plan that protects you against redundancy, disability, death, and loss of item due to natural disaster, fire, flood, or theft. Quartz Ready Finance with payment protection. Quartz, bringing value home.
Recapping the top stories. St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force clarifies a hoax message circulating on social media. 60 students awarded at Help a Child Program Scholarship Ceremony. And St. Kitts and Nevis hosts a high-level meeting on matters relating to civil aviation in the region. And that's the end of the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Barrage. Good night.